Blitzers, Nerf Clan, welcome back to the channel. We got amazing games today for you all, and I'm not just saying that. Starting with the E5 here in Alpenstadt, driven by Gent. 2 of the 3 today are Gents. Massive games, both. Collectively, between the 3 matches, we have nearly 20,000 damage in 3 matches, so definitely stay. The third match is a 7,000k plus damage, one of the biggest games I've seen in the FV215B, driven by Gent. And then we will have the Bane train, DarthBane, driving the FV4005. First, we have the E5 here, driven by Gent. This game won our giveaway for this week by Gent, based on the most damage. It's a little bit of a tough loss at the end, but nonetheless, very worth a look. And first of all, you see Gent goes in the opposite direction of his team very intelligently, because as you know, in Alpenstadt, going left from the south spawn is not a good way to go necessarily. But what Gent is doing here is actually clearing the TD. So he's got the grill and the JGPZ, Jagdpanzer, whatever the hell it's called, over there. And Gent's already hit the JGPZ, who wasn't wearing camo, probably a noob. And he's now getting shots on the Mausen and the grill. So he's actually helped the team, but his team is not good. I mean, they have 5 players, including his tuna, who is good, but they have 5 players over on the other side. Gent is distracting the TDs, but they're still bleeding really hard. Gent, however, is keeping his HP and is able to consistently just do damage on this JGPZ. Gets him another 439. And watch, I love Gent, how Gent moves around here and maintains a position to shoot without getting spotted and without, well, he may be spotted partly, I just got spotted. But in general, the ability to, even if spotted, to maintain protection, especially with an E5, that hull down is incredibly difficult to pen. You've got -9 gun depression, so you can use those hills and you can see how Gent is working that. His teammates coming over in the Vickers Light, trying to help Gent pull this over, but it's already a 4 against 6, and it's just not going well. The team here is not good. Gent tries to get an HE shot, but it looks like it hit the tracks on the grill. His teammate gets nuked by the grill, and unfortunately now we're facing a 3-on-6. So you can see this game is just one of those that in Blitz that you're going to lose. And Blitz has, I mean, I think Bushka said it once very well, you're going to win a third of your games, you're going to lose a third of your games. This unfortunately might be in the latter camp. But nonetheless, Gent finally clears this idiotic Jagdpanzer. And I think this is actually my favorite part of the game. Gent is in a 2-on-5, and he's got some players on the other team with lots of hit points, good tanks as well. He has to figure out a strategy here to get them down. And one of the strategies that he does here, he just basically ignores that Leo. The reason for that is he can't afford to ignore the other guys. They're charging on his E100 that is theoretically a good player or a helpful player, given that he's got nearly 3,000 hit points. And if that player did anything there, it would have allowed Gent and him to have a potential comeback. Unfortunately, the E100 quickly doesn't do anything, and then Gent turns around, has to deal with the Leo PTA. He starts to dismantle him very soundly here. First shot there, the Leo doesn't really know what to do. He bounces here, and another dumb thing the Leo does is he gets in the water, which greatly slows down his movement and allows Gent to clear him there with a high roll, which is a tremendous shot. Gent, unfortunately, now is a 2-on-3, and again, that E100 was full health. I couldn't see what was going on there. We can't see it, unfortunately, but one would believe he could have done more than he did. Gent gets a shot into the Sheridan, but now that idiot went down. So you got a grill, a Sheridan, and an E5 that Gent has to somehow try to deal with. He does have good hit points here and an opportunity to do some damage, but these guys do a smart move here by the Sheridan, who I don't think was a particularly good player, but he gets a big shot in on Gent there from the back, and Gent really needed the hit points here to be able to do much. He does get a nice track shot into the E5, and continues to try to work the angles of that ridge, and I think that's a really smart play, because you could kind of hide your side armor there. I don't know how Gent did that shot. Fortunately, he does go down there, but a beautiful shot on the grill. They're using auto aim, must have turned it off very quickly. 64-87 damage, 2 kills. Jen, I know this was a tough loss, but a terrific win in terms of your giveaway. So I love the game, even though it was a loss. We learned a lot from our losses and acknowledge that in the match. All right, the next one is DarthBane, driving the FV4005, this big Goliath shit barn, I think as we call it. And the reality for this tank is it's all about position. We are once again in Alpenstadt. This could be an Alpenstadt special, although it's not. And right away you see the he is going here, Bane is going here the exact position where the TDs were, so the kind of the obvious TD position that Gent was tearing them apart in the previous game. Now, FV4005, one of the more obscure tanks in the game, capable of doing tremendous burst damage and clearing tanks like you would not believe. You can easily do 1400 in a burst here, and it's got an accurate cannon with good pen. So if you can position this thing well, and it's got good speed too, if you can position it well, as Bane does, Bane is one of our TD experts, you really can do a lot of good here. It's just an amazing tank. Now, the problem with it is paper, and it is the size of a barn. It's huge, and it's made of paper. So you're gonna get nuked by almost anyone who gets time to shoot you from a distance, up close, etc., etc. But there you go, 2 shots, clears the 92, and Bane is using his height of the tank to be able to get over these and start shooting things. So he hits the E75 there, then you get your reload. It is about a 16-second mag reload, which is not that bad given the damage you put out when it reloads. The game's going pretty well here, however. It's a 6 on 5, and Bane sees the E75 just completely ignoring him. Takes advantage here, 1 shot. And by the way, he could have used the calibration boost. I'm surprised he didn't there. 2 shots just tracks him. You see the calibration boost is one of his consumables. That would have greatly aided Bane in getting the reticule a little bit more refined. But Bane says, I don't need that shit. I know what I'm doing. So anyway, so we are still 7 on 5. Lots of damage left to be done here. Bane's at 3,200 damage already. Doesn't look like it. He made it look easy with this tank. And again, if you get it in the right position, which by the way, I haven't. I have not had a good game with this tank since I bought it. But nonetheless, you know, better to talk about it than do it sometimes. There is the rear of an E3. We had a long conversation about E3s today in the team server, but Bane shows everyone why the E3 is not a frontline tank by just absolutely nailing him in the back, and he didn't HE him in the ass, which he could have as well for, I believe 600 alpha. So it was actually relatively easy. This tank can easily clear a grill, by the way, or a waffle, or a lot, or any other light TD. Or light tank, I should say, not that many, if you position it right using HE. So there, Bane goes to clear the E5, 4,200 damage and three frags already. Still, you realize Bane is basically not gone anywhere. And that's the thing with this tank. If you're not under pressure to move, you've got the shot velocity, the cannon, and everything you need. Don't move. Stay exactly where you are, which Bane likes to do, and take him apart from a distance. That works really well. Nonetheless, Bane's team helped there with that tank. He is going to go try to get the 50B. The 50B was kind of out of position. I'm not quite sure what this guy was doing. But nonetheless, in the E100 over there, it seems to be doing some work. So Bane's got to go position. And the 50B, as you see, just plugged into the 57 Heavy. As we know, the 50B can also clear a lot of tanks. So this is a little bit of a risky move. If the 50B had a full clip, he could do a lot of damage, but he's not looking. Bane pops him HE in the ass for 540. Hits him again there, 481 HE. I may have had the HE alpha wrong, by the way. And then finishes him off. Look at that. Look at that. Just tears him apart. He gets on B. I would have capped B here, and as Bane is doing there, because you are down. You never know what the hell could happen there. You're a little bit low on health. This tank, by the way, does have a consumable that reduces your HE pen. You've got to use that if you're playing this tank. If you're facing anything that can HE you, including this E100 or obviously a 183, you're going to get just absolutely nuked. So use that. I think it's spindle something or other. You make sure you use that. With that, Bane, 6,100 damage, 4 kills, 1519 base XP. That is insane. Insanely good, I should say. Mastery Class Ace Tanker, of course, and all the awards that go along with it. So that's an end of Alpenstadt, but terrific game, Bane. Congratulations. I imagine this may have been your first. You made some money too. Hey, what the hell? All right, Winter Malinovka. We have, again, Gent driving the FV215B. This tank is a tough tank. It is not a true heavy. It is more like a heavy medium or a light heavy, I guess. And it probably reminds me of like a cheap man's or a smart man's Chieftain Mark 6. It is a lot like the Chief in that it's extremely mobile. It's got a terrific tank. It's got some gun depression. It has -7 versus the -10 of the Chief. But nonetheless, I think it's probably every bit as good as the Chief. It's got arguably more armor. It's easily as mobile, and it's got the top consumables right now, which are a big difference maker in terms of speed and other things that you can use. So You know, I think it's an underrated tank. I see a lot of Unicums, super Unicums like Gent and others using it. But here's the thing, it's not a true heavy. You can't just go front line, you know, in front of an E100 just shooting him in his face and hoping that that'll work. You've got to see how Gent works this. He went all the way around the top of the C-cap there, moved around and pounded, absolutely heshed the shit, by this tank has heshed the shit out of the E3. And that's a terrific way. I love that no-look shot. He knows where he was going. Left the shot there as he was already turning. That was fantastic. And as Gent moves on, speaking of E100s, to the E100, he doesn't get that snapshot there, but this E100 doesn't exactly know what he's doing, or maybe he does, who knows. But Gent quickly uses the mobility of the tank to get on the side, hits him in the side already. He's got some help here, which is incredibly useful. Look at the mobility of this tank. I mean, it's just fast. I mean, it's fast. By the way, the aim time on this tank, I believe, is 3 seconds. And that's if you supercharge. So you could actually reduce that, which you shouldn't, which is just ridiculous. He does not land that shot, but he can get there with APCR. And Gent's already, you know, what I love here is already looking at his next target. He's thinking ahead, where do I need to go? Clears him there, which was a very nice shot. And Gent's already 2,800 damage. This game's gonna go, like as I said before, into the 7,000. So a lot of work left to be done here. Gent moves forward to help his teammate. Now we are facing, one thing I didn't mention earlier, you may have noticed it, is he is facing a Void platoon with a couple of clearly very good players. Pew Pew, who's an excellent player, is ahead. And I can't even see the other one right now. But nonetheless, they're over here picking apart this VK72, and I want to see how quickly Gent clears both of them. He's working on him, hits him with Hesh. I believe that's the second time. He is already down to a one shot. Gent lines him up. Look at the aim. Look how good that cannon clears him there. And I'd say about 3 seconds later, adios, Void, goodbye. I love that shot. No need to focus that shot in. It just distracts you. Let the cannon go back. Let it work its move and get there. So just like that, Gent clears the Void tune in about 7 seconds. In between deaths there. I'm sure that wasn't their best day. And he's moving on. So it's a 2-on-2. He's getting help from to Cap B. Bad idea. Why would you Cap B at this point? You're just telling people where to shoot you. But nonetheless, luckily, that didn't even come down there with the Bat Chat pushing. But look at the speed. He uses the speed of this tank is just outstanding. I mean, it's every part as fast as a lot of meds. And then Gent sees the grill coming from behind him. The grill does hit him very hard for 727. But this was a stupid move by the grill. However, I mean, the guy's full power. You realize the Bat Chat and the grill basically came up full power. That was a nice little bounce there. And Gent, very smartly, he's not tunneling, clears very quickly, clears the Bat Chats. And the grill then decides, hey, I'm going to go find an easier target. I guess he thought he could clear, correctly thought that he could clear the 268 with one shot. Gent is now getting a little bit of pressure on the cap, but it's not enough given how quickly he can clear the grill. Hits him with one more crucial shot, bounces yet another shot from the grill, and finishes him with AP. 7357 damage, and just non-stop beating the shit out of the other team. 6 kills, 1802 base XP, just literally about as good as a game gets. Congratulations, Gent. You did it against a good team as well, which makes it even more worthwhile. Thanks for watching, team. 3 great games. Congrats to Bane and Gent, and please subscribe to the channel.